Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening back with the Leon LeGray podcast. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome aboard. Welcome. Man, I am finally back, and I'm glad to be back after probably, I would say, about almost a week without recording. So that's kind of sucks in a way, but we are back. No doubt. I definitely want to come in and say, for those that have came in and listened to me, definitely want to say thank you so much for coming in and dropping by to the Leon LeGray podcast, yet again. So before I begin in today's episode of 151 of the podcast, I want to just go ahead and give you give a shout out to one of my new partnered sponsor, and thank you, Scooch, for partnering with me. It is awesome. It is a blast. In fact, I have a Scooch case right here with me. It is super. I love the case. In fact, this plastic case is very, very durable. It has good protection. And also not just good protection. The case right here, it's also just a nice plastic material, which is very, very hard, easy to get out, to take off your phone, and easy to put back off your phone, whether if it's iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy model phone, you name it. You have the best protection off the Scooch case phone, and I love about the Scooch case. This was given to me by Scooch, and I had reviewed it off my blog. And for those of you guys that haven't known about my blog yet, please go ahead, check out my blog, because it is worth it. I do put my own context and what I like about the blog, what about the Scooch case, and basically I think the Scooch case pretty much wins me here. And what is the biggest win for me is this clip stand. You press the clip in the back, and voila, you can use this as a stand. You can use this for putting it on the dash of your car, which is great. Or you can just use it to watch nice little movies or shows, probably on the stand instead of having to carry it around with you, which is good. And while with most cases, in the other hand, while they do have a stand, this one right here, you can just remove the clip stand. If for any reason whatsoever, if it gets worn out or anything were to happen to it, then guess what? You can just go ahead, remove the darn thing and place in a new one. And this right here, this clip stand, this material definitely lasts a good long time, and which I like the built on it too, which is fantastic. To me, you cannot get a good case like this too. I mean, and to me, what I think the biggest deal breaker about Scooch is this right here. It doesn't feel as bulky as the OtterBox. The OtterBox, while it's rigged, it's protected. Now, the biggest difference is that the material is just so big, it just weighs on your jeans, which I don't like. Protectors that's very, very bulky. And Scooch case, however, does it right. And I love this case a lot too. So guys, go ahead and check down the links down below, which it has available for many iPhone models, including Samsung Galaxy. Go ahead, check both of them out. You will not be disappointed. And woo, there we go. So that was quite of a long sponsorship introduction of the podcast. So of all the sponsorship links, I'll leave right down below as well, including the new sponsorship Scooch case. So today on episode 151, I want to go ahead and bring up some interesting things that's happened in my radar. And before I get into a story that I found out about the growing Florida tech scene, which the tech scene in Florida is it is growing slowly, but not in a rapid pace like I've wanted to see. Even though slow is not bad, but having to keep up with the West Coast tech, I think we definitely have a long way to see Florida building momentum. And so before I get onto that story right here, I want to get onto something that came into my radar, which was pretty much brought up last week. Actually, excuse me. It was actually not even last week. It was actually this week that came up right here too. And as you guys know, that I love cryptography, cryptocurrencies, all that nice stuff that I like to see. And to me, the open web, unfortunately, it's just getting. We're going to see a lot of that being threatened with more government intervention and regulations. Which for me, as you guys know, I'm not a fan of big government. I think they've pretty much have put their nose basically where they shouldn't be. And that's where I'm so sick of people just touching the free and open internet. And while look, I have to say that the open internet may not be all perfect, this is where I think it gets me, where it's like, hey, what's for the government's business to get their hands on the open and free internet? It just doesn't seem right, and this just proves that the people are up in the office, just shows that they have no touch whatsoever about the big and free open internet. And if they ever get their hands on the free open internet, this is gonna be a big deal. So throughout almost last week, library or the Library Foundation was sued by the FCC, or SEC, I would call it, the SEC. Pretty much is one of those government entities where pretty much they look at the little guys, and those little guys that are doing a lot of the disruption. Pretty much they see this as very much of a big threat, and what makes this a big threat was the LBC credits. And for those that don't use Odyssey/Library, the credits are library credits, which is something that you use to gain while you're watching videos, or whether you're posting videos up on the net, on the network basically, and you earn LBCs. So these are incentives right there too, which for what I have understood, that the LBC tokens did drop when the government interfered with the LBC network. And so that's been very scary, because that's why all open and free platforms are pretty much the way to go. And I like to see open alternatives, and this shows that the government shouldn't have no touch on new technology right there. It just shows them that they're so out of touch, many of these people too, and having to touch anything that they see. So, and reading up the news on nasdaq.com, which says right here, and let me bring the screen up closer to me, which says, according to the court documents filed Monday, peer-to-peer content distribution network LBRY Library is being accused of selling millions of dollars worth of unregistered securities to investors. Beginning in 2016, the securities regulator is seeking a permanent injunction against LBRY from selling further tokens, in addition to a disgorgement of ill-gotten gains plus prejudgment interests. And so this is my part right there too, is that this is what I'm talking about. The government shows that they're threatening small companies that doesn't want competition. Like for one, I will put it this way: YouTube is pretty much one of the biggest platform for video sharing content, and it is still up up and alive, because the thing about it is that YouTube is being supported, and they're getting pretty much government funding in the background, and as some of you notice that Google isn't making as much revenue from the YouTube side. So yeah, and that's what's happening. And they're and now they're going after a small company that are creating a token. While at the same rate, here's what I'll say right there is that the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, however, they do tons of scams on their on their own as well too, which I that's why I just don't believe what they're doing is right. And I don't think that, besides, the government, what the government touches doesn't even do anything right, to be fairly honest. And that's where I find really disturbing with this whole situation. But however, I am going to do my part of keeping the web free and open, and just doing my parts and getting the word out as much as I can. I mean, if you're into open source video sharing platform like I am, I definitely there are definitely good news about this. So you guys can go ahead and check out. Actually, library.tv is actually closing. Well, however, Odyssey, odyssey.com, ODYSEE.com, which is part of the library foundation network. So you guys can go ahead and help out the best as you can, and just make sure to put yourself out there, which to me, it's the best thing you guys can do. Sure, get your voice heard by putting a petition on, or calling your local what you call it, your local authorities about this, letting them know, so hey, this shouldn't be touched, this shouldn't be, because thing is, though, this is a smaller company that, I mean, they haven't done anything, and to me, cryptocurrencies, I mean, the government cannot see what they're doing to a small company. I mean, this is a big disruptor. And to me, I like the library.tv/Odyssey much better than a YouTube. The YouTube, however, the platform has changed. It's just changed for the worse. And I don't like where that's going. So, yeah, it's not pretty much, hasn't gotten the best reputation for now a couple years, because obviously everyone knows about the whole situation that YouTube has demonetized creators for speaking out political, social situations, which the mainstream doesn't talk about, and the alternative media, mainly what they mainly do is talk about great content, and there are tons of content out there too, and especially with the world of crypto, and that's just very unfortunate. And to me, I look at this situation, and it's very sad, because the United States, or the U.S., is supposed to be the most innovative country, right? But however, they're putting all these regulations on crypto, and I'm thinking, I always question, do I even live in a free country anymore? It's really awful that they're doing this to the crypto community, this crypto space right there. After 10 years of growth, they're doing this to the blockchain. And blockchain, if you look at blockchain, it has brought in more growth than ever, and that's why we definitely need blockchain more and more. This is a growing space, which I actually support. I support the blockchain, and I support what it does. And to me, there is a huge future ahead. And to me, if for any reason that the dollar goes down, or the value of the dollar goes down, your dollars having to spend anywhere just becomes very useless. And that's why I encourage anybody, listeners, go ahead and get into crypto, or any crypto that is pretty much has the value to do what it can. So, and guys, check out this pension. I'll have the link down below. What you can do to help keep library up, and do not, and hopefully, hopefully this lawsuit doesn't like this a lawsuit doesn't go through, because I doubt this will even pass. But with your help, I know that their library is going to need more help than ever, and more so than ever. And the website that you guys can go through is helplibrarysavecrypto.com. So it is, again, helplibrarysavecrypto.com, which I'll have the link down below, down in the description. And I will end up following up on the story, more so when it develops, and I will keep an eye up on it really, really soon. So, but with that said, let's go on to the main story of today. So, this is kind of old news, and one of the biggest news that actually came to my attention, which I think for me now, this deserves more attention than ever right now, with everybody fleeing West Coast states like California, Oregon, Seattle, um, and all the pretty much expensive states like New Jersey, New York, and the northeastern states are, how they're handling the corona situation is pretty awful. And truth be told, the after following up for so much now, you, I notice a pattern is that these cities aren't doing the best to serve their people, and they serve their own constituent, unfortunately. And there's so much to even talk about that it's so crazy that after all this right there too. And as many of you know, that after you guys following up on the local situation with Texas, Texas is pretty much wide open. You don't have to have a mask anymore. And even Florida, actually, I believe Florida was like one of the first states to open up, and now there's tons of events right now, so you guys can go ahead and go to Florida or Texas. And because the fact of the matter is that I think the governor Ron DeSantis, he's actually followed up on the numbers on coronaviruses, and he said himself that that this hasn't killed many people. Even though I don't want to dismiss it, I've dismissed the deaths of these people that have died on this, but I don't think the way I see it, however, this hasn't been a huge deal. And to me, Florida, everybody has really pretty much have their sights set on Florida, with the whole situation being the way it is right now. So also, and while I will say is that if you thought Florida has as a state as a state has been just kind of the laughing joke of the last couple years, now it hasn't been really the laughing joke too, because I've always picked on Florida, and I grew up living in South Florida for 9 years as a child, and ended up moving in Georgia, so it was kind of funny enough right there too. And to me, when I see Florida, the only one thing I see about Florida is tourism, the fast-paced lifestyle, you name it. And this is something with Florida. I never think for the 29 years or almost 30 years of my lifetime will I ever see Florida growing with momentum, having a big tech scene down there too. Even though parts of Florida does have like call centers, tech support down there. To me, Florida was never on the radar to see this as an open wide investment down there too, because I never have seen it for for this long right there too. After growing up for the rest of my life, seeing that the tech scene was gonna grow in South Florida. And I think what's even interesting about this is you have New York, right? New York has such a bad situation that they can't even get themselves situated. And I think by next episode, I'm going to be talking about New York and along with their vaccine passport, in which this was a talk that pretty much was brought up by this week with many outlets talking about the vaccine passport and the concern of civil liberties and privacy. To me, I'm very concerned about that as well. And man, oh man. So this is going to be very interesting how this is going to go. But man, I don't live in New York, and thank God I don't. Because to me, I see that as a negative for the long term. And however, and the governor's response to vaccine passports, though I compare it in comparison to New York and Florida, his response was that Florida will never mandate a vaccine passport too. We never will, and I guess that's good though. I mean, even though I would say that is great though, and I'm happy about that too, because that will actually will end up leading to more problems than it will help, because in the same rate, the way I see this whole coronavirus thing, it's pretty much blown out of proportion. And it really has blown out of proportion in so many ways, because I really don't think personally that all the states really needed to be locked down in the first place, right? And the one state that never closed down was South Dakota throughout the whole union, right there too, which that's something that says it right there on its own. And to me, that does become a disruption in the economy, and you don't really want that to disrupt the economy right there too, because you want to stay things afloat. And I know Georgia, my state right there, did close temporarily for about 3 weeks until the governor ended up lifting the state lockdowns real early, which a lot of people questioned about that too. And a lot of people said, man, that was very that was really careless. Why would he ever do that? That's wrong. That's stupid. I've heard many things about the governor, but the truth of the matter is that Georgia is pretty much a productive factory, hardworking states. I mean, there's tons of manufacture that goes down over here, and things to come up right there too. Which, to me, I don't even think that Georgia really needed to be locked down, anyways. Which I'm glad that Georgia didn't stay locked down for a long time, because I was kind of wondering the same with everybody how long it was going to be. And what do you know? It didn't stay locked down for very, very long too. Now, of course, if you ever go to the city, that's a different story. Going to like the metropolitan cities like Atlanta, yeah, there are rules that you have to follow upon this. So that right there, you do have to have like mask worn when you're in the cities. So that in itself, it's a different story right there too. So let me go on topic about the Florida tech scene throughout South Florida is building momentum. And that's right there. That's been a story that's been around. Let me go ahead and check the dates. That pretty much that's been around for the last couple weeks. And I know that they've had talked about Florida's tech scene even for some years now. And I've read about the article. This is actually pretty interesting. And actually, I didn't even think that Florida was gonna to jump right on the tech scene, which is so interesting that now it's making its bounds again. And a lot of companies like the West Coast are end up moving to states like Texas and especially Florida. So this is a very, very interesting very interesting times that we're seeing here too. Which here in this article in the Miami Herald, which says CEOs have asked Miami has been attempting to upgrade its economy and put more resources into high-end professional services and tech. How do you see this transformation progressing? We have not notice any changes at all. Attempting is one thing. Successful implementation is another. We believe the middle markets need focus and attention. They demonstrate future uptick for growth, whereas the big businesses can only downtread. Community leadership is not hitting the high notes needed to touch off any form of transformation. So, and continuing on, it is not just Miami that is experiencing gains in high-end professional services and tech. All of South Florida has seen positive growth in these areas, especially in tech and life sciences. Citrix System in Fort Lauderdale, Ultimate Software in Weston, Plantation Base, Magic Leap, Mako Surgical in Davie and Boca Raton based modernization medicine are just a few contributions to the region's role in advancing software development, augmentation reality, and robotics. So wow. So there's just a lot that Florida is just offering. So that shows it right there too that it's just making tons of leaps over there, moving on forward. And continuing on with this article, the important part right there, I'm going to bring up here, and which says, although we have had some impressive wins recently, like the largest e-commerce acquisition in history, Chewy.com, 3.35 billion sell to PetSmart. The launch of Rockers Lab, which is 150 million investment fund, Miami startup Record Graham and others. I don't think we are progressing fast enough. It is one of the main reasons, if not the deciding factor, that lost our bid for Amazon's second headquarters. We are slowly developing a reputation as an evolving hub for startups in tech and life sciences. But we need to have the talent pool in South Florida to increase our momentum for the long term. It is the chicken or egg dilemma. South Florida has so many advantages over other parts of the world that, with the right focus and exposure, we will succeed in developing, growing, and retaining the professional talent pool required to make us the next tech hub in the U.S. It took New York 10 years to do it, so a little patience is a virtue here. And yeah, so which from what I've already read to you, it's growing. It's definitely growing right there too. And this is why a lot of people already have their sites here down in Florida. And this pretty much shows that already a lot of people are looking into South Florida with tons of potential. And and also the tax rate in Florida is not as high as, let's just say, the San Francisco Bay Area, which their tax rate is super high, and living a home over there is utterly impossible to live there, and you're just having to deal with tons of issues over in San Francisco, which to me, I've been to San Francisco back in 2015. There are parts of California that are very, very pretty, but for the most part, I've seen many of its grim side of it too, especially with the homelessness, and it's just not a very beautiful sight. It's just not. You can look into Florida, and sure, there are homelessness in Florida, but it is not as bad in comparison to what's going on in the West Coast. While in respect with California have never used to be like this as well, and pretty much with all the policies that's been going on in Cali, it's pretty much been a heck of not a heck of, but a hell of a situation over there that is very uncontrollable. And of course, I'm not to bring the politics up, but you look at the situation in California, it's gone to the point that it's gotten so worse that the living is so unaffordable. And of course, having to make it through the tech world over there, or having to live in California, the living is just very impossible. Sure, there are tons of great opportunities there, but however, if you cannot continue to stay and afford the high price of living over there, that becomes very much a huge problem. I mean, you're looking at that tax rate is like 13 or 14%, and so here you are, that's of all the money that you make on off your job while working in California. Imagine this having to have all that income taken away from you. That's just even worse. That's even much worse. And so you look at Florida, it's though I've always looked at how bad Florida is, though not all parts of it too. One thing I just can't stand is probably the fast lifestyle that's in the strip down in Florida, which I can't stand because it gets way too busy, and including Fort Lauderdale too, and as well too. So I mean, there are tons of places, not just those two places, not just Orlando, but you have tons of places to look into and find a good place to stay. I mean, there are tons of homes over there. In fact, not just the West Coasters moving over to Florida, but especially people from the Great Whites, like Canada, are looking to get out because of the whole COVID situations, and plus there's no jobs over there too. So that's like one of the states that a lot of people are looking into Florida and say, you know what, I need a bit more freedom. It is time to go. And that's where I can definitely see that in their point of view, because I mean, what I've understood with the situation in Canada, it's just not getting any better. It's just getting much worse and much worse. Even though Florida may be free, who knows how long that's going to last? To put this out there, frankly, put this out there, because now, if you look at this right now, Florida and the rest of the economy down in Florida, it's growing fast and fast now as people are looking into it too. And here's what I thought was interesting: that a few weeks ago, about almost 2 weeks ago, I looked up on a interview, which was a operations manager from Lolly, which I thought was cool, and I've checked the interview out. And get this though, I didn't know how well the crypto scene was like in Florida. Now, however, the mayor of Florida, Francis Suarez, if I don't know if I pronounced his last name correct, but anyways, he's like the mayor of Miami, and he's very bullish on crypto, especially in Bitcoin. So what he's proposing now, he wants to have Bitcoin open up freely and use it as an available currency, not just a dollar. You can just use your cryptos down in Florida, which was cool, and it is not like anything else, which I thought this is very awesome. So to me, I know there are actually one state I remember that is very pro Bitcoin. I know Wyoming. I heard the last time, which I understand the governor of Wyoming is like very bullish of Bitcoin, and I know. And however, if this is 100% true, in fact, I have to put down the story of the CNBC interview, of the mayor's interview, which I thought this was very interesting to find that out. And yeah, so you guys can go ahead and check out the interview from here, and because I do think that with people having their sights on crypto, like just like me though, because not many of the states aren't really crypto friendly. I know New York was big onto crypto early on, like almost 8 years ago, until the regulators up in New York decided to ban cryptocurrency for some odd reason. But again, those people in office are so out of touch. And you look at over here, down in South Florida, they can see the potential what you can use for Bitcoin. So with that said, Suavia said that you can actually use it not just payments or local goods and services, but you can also use it to pay utilities and your bills. So that right there is awesome to do that right there, because the only way you can only pay for utilities is pretty much by your local currency, which to me, that's the only thing you could really do is pay it off right through the USD, which is the fiat dollar basically. And however, this is something very, very unheard of to this point, which I thought, wow. So you can just pay off your bills using Bitcoin. How sweet is that? So, anyways, even though with South Florida, though, I will say that this is not going to replace Silicon Valley, but this is a disruptor now, no doubt, right there. So, but yeah, however, let me go ahead and keep this short, and keep it short and sweet as always, even though normally I'll go through an hour of talk. So by all means, I'd love to know what you guys have to say, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it too. Do you see Silicon growing into the next Miami growing into the next Silicon Valley, Silicon Valley of the East? What do you guys think about this? To me, this is very exciting, and at the same rate, I have some mixed things to it too, because I never looked at Florida as a big tech hub. And knowing now, I see this. It's probably may end up growing on me. Who knows? I'll probably end up going in and collectively think through this probably in the next episode, and we see where this goes. So I'm very excited, very, very excited about this. To end this podcast from here, guys, thank you so much for taking a listen to the Leon Legray podcast. As always, if you're a first-time listener, I am everywhere of your podcast services of choice, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, you name it. I am everywhere else you guys can find me on. And with that said and done, go ahead and hit subscribe and check me out from here. I always publish my podcast each and every week on Fridays. So go ahead, check me out on there, and be sure to subscribe to me on the podcast services of your choice, and check out my blog as well too, which I update on a weekly basis, which now I'm getting back into the momentum of updating my blog each and every week. You guys take care and have a great, safe, a wonderful rest of your Easter. Take care and ciao.